Well done, me.
Yeah.
That might be a new PB for the LPL broadcast. But you guys can enjoy LPL using our code LPL20 as well to try out this MOBA trainer.
Yep. Back to the draft.
Kai, I'm going to let you know we cannot see the draft right now. I'm so sorry.
We're still on the screen. Bam! There we go. Okay, Nautilus and Jace slammed on the board. No Wukong, no Vi, no Gwen, Akali, Nico, and Yorick either.
Okay, so Gwen off the board. Okay, that was what I was looking for. Senna gets taken early doors here by JackeyLove. So I am absolutely loving Senna right now. This is my go-to pick for the solo queue games that I'm playing. And it's been working out well for me. So I'm excited to see what JackeyLove can do with this. You just don't get punished, really, and you scale absolutely incredibly. So we'll see whether or not this early game powerhouse of Nautilus plus Corki ends up paying dividends for them. Because they can punish the Senna at this time, or early on at least, whilst she is quite weak. Jace, though, coming in for top esports does give us a pretty decent showing that we're probably going to see 369 in a more carry role again.
And I love this Tahm Kench slam for Chris because you can now get out of a death charge from Nautilus. You can try and avoid a Call of the Forge God and bail out either JackeyLove or Creme in these fights. And 369, the fact that he has been given the carry reins again after an immaculate Aatrox performance in Game 3, I would trust him with my life at this point. And Top Esports trying to eliminate some jungle carry options away from Monki now that we're in the 4th game of this series.
Yeah, and I mean, so far we've seen two different games, or two different styles of game, really. It's been when Kanavi is on carries, when Kanavi isn't on carries, and the causation may be a little bit different, but he's won both the games on carries, then he lost the one on Sejuani. Yep. We've got, so far for Top Esports, a very poke-oriented composition, it's worth saying. They've got a lot of range between the Senna and the Jace here, and they've got a Tahm Kench to absorb that Nautilus ulti, or somebody that's getting isolated by an Ornn ult as well. I would like to see Top Esports actually continue with this. Let's continue playing at range, maybe even getting like something like a Zyra or some AP threat from the jungle getting locked in here. Alternatively, you can just look toward going for a artillery mage, maybe an Orianna or something. I mean, this Lilia is perfect. This is a long-range poke champion with Swirl Seed. This is exactly the type of thing that Kanavi can utilize and still frees up for Creme to play something that can be AD and fit within that wheelhouse.
And if they ever dive too deep, then it's just a lot easier to set up a multi-man sleep with that Lilting Lullaby. Now, WE, they have to either commit to the full dive composition or try and pivot around to some extra range. But hovering already the likes of something like the Jarvan and comboing with the Orianna just means WE, they're full sending it. This is their opportunity to take control of the series back into their own hands and bring us to Game 5.
Yeah, it's a little bit old school here with the Jarvan Orianna, but I mean, if it's worked in the past, it may well be able to work in the future. We'll see what it is for Top Esports that they can save in the mid lane because they want something with mobility. I think that the only option that they have probably is this Aurora. You could go Akali if you wanted to be really safe and really, you know, have that mobility. But I think that this gives them the same style of composition that they're after, where Akali kind of pivots them and would leave Creme to be the solo diver of this composition. Whereas now they have tools to go into the backline if they want to, but they've also got really good disengage as well. So I'm a fan of this for Top Esports. Their ability to sit back, relax, and try to play poke between Senna, Lilia, and Jace is actually really, really strong, which puts the burden on WE. Can they engage? Can they find these fights? Because if not, they're going to get poked out before those objectives are even started up.
And the way that the fights played out for Top Esports when they were the ones absorbing the engage looked so much better when they were the ones trying to force the hand of the opposition against WE. WE are not backing down, though. We've already highlighted the fact that this is pretty much a full send composition. Every one of these champions will benefit from going forward, and pretty much 3 of these champions definitely want to do so. There is no backpedaling when you're playing something like a Jarvan or an Ornn or a Nautilus. All of your tools want you to dive deep into the backline. This is it, Rude. For WE's chances, they have to start the climb back up to get us to Game 5, whereas Top Esports, they're at match point. This could be what sends Top Esports into the match against IG and secures themselves at least a top 4 finish in the split 2 of playoffs.
We'll see if we get loaded up onto the Rift, whether or not Top Esports can push on, can start that lower bracket run reminiscent of what they did in split number 1 when they rode that lower bracket all the way through to the finals, finally took down their split 1 nemesis in Anyone's Legend, or whether it's WE that are going to push us to that 5th and final game, the team that nobody expected anything from. Can they take us to game 5?
Gio's still ringing just as strong as they did when we opened up the series nearly 3 hours ago. I'm still impressed that we had so many fans show up for WE in this series, but it just goes to show that the faith in them has slowly built up over the course of these past couple of months, and for good reason. The fact that WE have made it this far has been remarkable, and even if they were to drop the series now, they have still overperformed everyone's expectations and should not be ashamed going into Split 3.
Not at all for WE. And I do want to talk about, once again, this jungle matchup, because we've talked about it that this entire series long about how important it's proven to be. Game 1 and 2, they were your MVPs, where it was a trade of Monki taking one and taking another. But I think in this context, where you are now down at match point and where Monki is put on a facilitatory jungle, this Jarvan is a ganker by trade, by virtue, by every metric. Level 2, he's already invading. And we need to see something from Monki to show that he can be the one to dice with the best.
Level 2? EQ... Oh, no! I know the vision. I know what you were looking for. You got to start flipping the game. Wait, Karis? Just flash? Okay, no. Yeah. I mean, Creme still had his own flash. It would be a trade of flashes, and Karis might have exposed himself. And Monki is not going to let up the aggression, even though flubbing the EQ flash, but Kanavi still has a smite. Gotta be careful. He's committing the smite over to Monki. Oh, man. Monki is just trying to do everything this game, and he's not getting any of his movements flipping out accordingly. And now Kanavi has a chance to punish Karis. Is going to push him off the wave, giving some relief over to Creme.
I actually think Kanavi has a chance to punish Monki right now. I mean, no flash on the Jarvan is a pretty big win, but also you could maybe try and invade, try and steal away some of those camps. I mean, looking at the prio in the mid lane and looking at prio in bot lane, it's not looking too likely, and maybe for Kanavi something that is keeping him a little bit apprehensive about moving into that bot side jungle. But it's a pretty sour start here for WE. For Monki in particular, you mentioned it, right? These types of games where the pressure's maybe getting to him just a little bit, where he feels compelled to go for these types of plays. Now we're just going to stop a recall here. Is Karis here? Hello?
Well, Karis thankfully dodges out on the swirling seed. Vampire and Taeyoon getting aggressive into JackeyLove's face, pops the barrier just to save and preserve some HP in this lane, but Senna and Tomken, such a disgustingly, deceptively strong sustain lane to deal with, and Kanavi taking advantage of being able to move over into this top side, using the priority of 369 to try and steal some camps away from Monki.
Kanavi was spotted, and Monki's able to defend his Gromp. Well, this isn't really Kanavi losing out on anything here. He's got so much movement speed that he can kind of dance back, recomplete the clear of the top side as a little flash up from the bottom here. Chris reaching his 800th game of the LPL. Congratulations. Looks like debuting in 2017, so reaching his, eighth and a half year in the LPL. 800 games, nice little tally for him.
We definitely saw a little bit of a glow from Crisp in Split 1. One of the main reasons why Top Esports was able to make that lower bracket run, is Crisp being able to remind the world why he was a world champion to begin with. And while not necessarily been the cleanest series overall, his Braum was definitely super strong, as Crisp taking a lot of fire, the early ignite from Vampire trying to burn him down, but it's just only the cost of his heal, not the flashes. Creme still trying to hold his own against Karis, as both of these mid laners getting very aggressive as now Monki wants to pressure JackeyLove off the turret.
Yeah, and I mean, they did take a large HP bar from Crisp, who's been forced to recall, and now there's a world where if they get this wave in time that they could have looked for a dive. Unfortunately, they're a little bit slow, and Crisp is going to be there, Kanavi's going to be there. It's just going to result in a Gromp being taken away by Monki. So this continual aggression into the Lilia's jungle. But you can see Kanavi already level 5, already actually sniffing around. I think he wants to either start this dragon or, if I'm Kanavi here, just try and take some raptors away.
Yep, you see the pings coming down.
Yeah.
I mean, Kanavi knows that Monkey's flash is still down, so they could look for an easy collapse. Chris doesn't land the Abyssal Dive as Monki finds a way to EQ back to safety over the Krugs wall, but he is now way too low to contest those Raptors by himself. Kanavi going to force the issue here. Vampire flash over the wall with the dredge line. Kanavi now forced to flash. Karis is going to get the first Roman down. Shockwave from Karis scoops him back up, and it's first blood going over to Taeyoon's Corki, and Chris will fall as well. Karis getting a little bit of gold for himself.
Yeah, you saw the pings from Kanavi saying that he wanted to go for it. WE read it like a book. They send their bot lane in. Karis has had the run of this mid lane despite the woes of that early gank from Kanavi, or from Monki. It did give an advantage over to Karis. It gave him this level 6 early, and now JackeyLove's in trouble bot side. JackeyLove
forced a flash. Has barrier coming back up in just a couple of seconds. Doesn't need to use it. But already WE, despite some of the nervous looks from Monki trying to force some unconventional timers, which I still respect, by the way, and unfortunate the execution didn't work out for him. The rest of WE stepping up to make sure that Monki isn't falling behind for no reason whatsoever.
And I mean, after that play at level 2, you would expect him to be really far behind. Chris now in trouble again, going to be able to pop the grey health and keep himself alive, and Kanavi forced to come off of the dragon, so it's going to reset and waste a little bit more time off this Lilia.
JackeyLove is just going to roam on over just to help Kanavi not waste too much time on this objective. He will be forced to give up the push on this wave. Yeah.
And he's not even going to get the souls from the dragon either, so only loses out on 1 creep of XP. But what you look for center is being around jungle camps when they die, or neutral objectives when they die. Neutral objectives give 2 souls, the camps give 1 soul guaranteed, and then depending on where you are, depends on how many they give out.
All right, Monki, let's see it this time. Okay, he's not in range to...
He can flash Cataclysm, but he does just trade flashes, which I think is the concern.
Yeah.
And on an Aurora as well, who's got E plus ulti and so many escape tools herself, that just isn't deemed worth it by Monki. As we haven't really seen too much of that top side, but it has been a very 3-6-9-sided affair. He went back to base, picked up a Cull, picked up a Tier, and has still picked up 2 plates up against this Ornn, a 20 CS lead and a 700 gold advantage. Currently the only area of the map that top esports have to boast about.
And there was a reason why I said that I would trust 369 to play the Jace matchup, and WE just answering with a tank to make sure that they'll have some primary engage regardless of how the rest of the draft played out. Well, thankfully, Root, they've got many ways to engage. So, you know, the engage is plenty in supply, and I don't think... Yeah, top esports nowhere near the grubs. It's going to be all 3 going over to the hands of WE, and the best that Kanavi can do is just try and continue getting camps for himself.
I think he will be able to take the majority of this bot side jungle, in fairness. The red buff's up, the Krugs are up as well, so this could be a pretty big boost for Kanavi in terms of that experience, and you know, the CS is now neutralized, might just eat into the advantage for Kanavi. Monki already turning tail, heading towards this bot side. Doesn't really have too much to find down there, though. Pops a flag over the wall, sees that his Raptors are gone, and infers that the rest of his bot side will be gone as well.
Looks like Monki will at least be able to find his Krug, since Kanavi does not have enough time to go for all 3 camps. Lilting Lullaby right onto the Ornn, and nice use of the Bellows Breath to cancel out the sleep, flashing over now, repositioning. Oh, it's a big whiff, field goal in the middle, but Kanavi still might be in trouble, but just not enough damage from Monki and Cube, as Creme is able to step up huge and provide the Between the Worlds for the turnaround.
I mean, JackeyLove's ulti does so much there. It's like a 800 HP value from his Dawning Shadow. Gives 200 HP shield to both Creme and Kanavi. Takes the damage off of Monki and Cube as well. It's a massive cross-map play that Top Esports come out on top of. They're able to, yes, take down 369 in this top lane, and it looks like 3 plates that they find in the long run. So this is gold going into Taeyoon, but it's at the cost here of more gold going on to Creme.
For now, Creme is been leveraged after back-to-back games in games 2 and 3. Even though there, it was only one of them being a loss, Creme was, the recipient of a lot of cyberbullying from WE, and not the best look, as we have had our concerns about Creme, but this is one of the few champions that, especially in Split 1, when we talk about that lower bracket run where he was able to make quite a few pop-off performances especially in the lower finals against JDG, Creme now has an opportunity to kind of right away and dispel some of the concerns and the woes that has happened earlier in this series and still try to prop himself up as one of our strongest mid laners in the league.
Oh, okay, hold on. 369 forced to flash away as Monki shows his face topside. Regrettable to the skies, for sure. But it's worth saying that in this game as well, Creme has also been the recipient of some cyberbullying. He got literally Jarvan flash ganks level 2. And hasn't actually succumbed to that pressure. Yes, he's down 20 CS and down 200 gold still. But Creme in game number 1 was, 1-4 at this point. Whereas, you look at him at this position now, he's 2-0. He held his own in that Orianna matchup, was graceful in his defeat, and now may even be rewarded with an extra plating.
Hell yeah, Creme. And just getting any extra bit of gold that you can snag for yourself here. Gold lead has not been blown open by any means by WE. They are technically ahead, but it's only a few hundred here. Next dragon objective spawning in 40 seconds, and first item spikes have already started coming online for majority members here.
Yeah, I mean, this is importantly as well, if we remember back to game number 3, a similar position that WE found themselves in, where Taeyoon has a lot of the gold, but it's the top side for Top Esports that are kind of running away with things, and it's that question of, can Taeyoon deal with 369, and we're going to have to wait and see how these team fights play out. We've got 10 seconds on a dragon, with Monki recalling at this time. It looks like WE aren't particularly incentivized to try and take a fight around it, but that being said, Top Esports as well, not particularly quick to the punch. They did find that first dragon, but they're timing out onto Summoner's Rift, not quite as quick as they might have needed to in order to sneak this under the noses of WE.
Cube doesn't have teleport because he's got an unsealed spellbook, currently rocking a heal summoner spell, whereas 369's teleport is still yet to be off cooldown, so neither top laner will be joining the dragon fight anytime soon. WE are the first ones into the river. Kanavi getting some vision with that swirling seed. So let's WE step up, maintain control of this banana brush. Chris gets a quick tongue lash in, licks up Monki. And Karis now stepping up. Vampire going forward, forcing Kanavi out, and Chris doesn't get to do anything. Great snag into the shockwave, running the JackeyLove, tries to flash away, but the Cataclysm locks him down. Kanavi, can he turn around this fight alongside Creme? 369 has joined the fray as well. Monki's still alive. Does he have enough for another EQ? No, not quite, but Taeyoon has enough damage in the tank to take out 369. Now Cube is also here. Creme forced out of the fight, but I don't think any team is going to get the dragon anytime soon.
That was incredible from Vampire. I mean, we very rarely are able to talk about Nautilus mechanics and how they are actually, there is some nuance to them, but that was exquisite. The fact that that's a 3 for 3 really just goes to show you quite how strong the top side for Top Esports actually are. This is a great engage from the WE support. Channels his ulti onto Kanavi and flashes to reposition it on top of JackeyLove. And as well, the knock up on Tom Kench. So Crisp can't do anything. Then finds a hook, links up with the shockwave. He does get taken down. Fortunately, Creme and Kanavi actually do a lot of work in this fight as well. The fact that we are a little bit late to the player's cube actually costs WE quite dearly. The fact that they didn't really have an Ornn for any of this fight is their detriment. That was, to all intents and purposes, a 4v5 that WE came out evenly in.
You know what? After the performance of the Leona in Game 3, I love that Vampire's able to step right back up to the plate and answer with probably one of his greatest plays I've ever seen, at least this season alone. And this is coming from the guy that that gave Vampire a really hard time. I was a notorious Vampire hater for a while, but that was impressive.
Maybe face checking, maybe one person that he ought not to here as he does manage to sneak a ward down, able to back out to safety, just giving Karis a little bit of time in that top side and a little bit more safety as well with an extra bit of vision being laid down. Now, Dragons are 1 apiece at this stage, meaning we're going to see a later soul than we might have anticipated, but our next neutral objective at the forefront of these teams' minds is going to be that Rift Herald, and WE are the ones that start it up. Teleport available for Cube, not available for 369. Could see Top Esports just give this, and could see WE look to try and leverage that TP.
That should be Feats of Warfare completely picked up here for WE since they got the first 3 kills for themselves in the first 3 objectives. Another dredge line from Vampire right onto Chris. Kanavi separated from the rest of the team as he's locked down in this Cataclysm. EQ gets the knockup. Here comes the call of the Boards God. Good stasis by Kanavi, buys some time, but he's super low, and the shockwave clips him. Taeyoon picks up an easy double kill, and Monki rides the Rift Herald right into the mid lane, blasting open this game.
This series has been about the junglers. Game 3 we had a deterioration, and it was our bot laners that were the highlight. But this time round, we're right back in there. Monki on the Jarvan this time with a massive team fight. We'll have a look at it again because it might go a little bit under the radar. It's a great engage by Vampire. Taeyoon as well has a wonderful follow-up. 5-0 and 4 on this Corki. And now they're able to take a charge into the tier 2 mid lane. They take 2 tier 1 turrets across the map, and all they have to sacrifice is a little bit of gold onto 369 as he takes a tier 1 turret down on the bot side as well. They are absolutely loving this. Monki, watch him through this team fight. He puts the Herald down immediately, and he pens Kanavi into the Cataclysm, so he can't take Taeyoon, Karis, or Vampire out. He then gets back into the Rift Herald so that he can stay safe, finds a knock-up onto the Aurora on the way through. It's a masterclass!
I'm speechless. My goodness. It just I didn't even comprehend the geniusness of Monki in that fight. And there was so much other things going on that I didn't realize he was playing hit and run with the Rift Herald, just running through everyone. The fact that Kanavi had a Seeker's arm guard right there in that fight meant that he at least got the dodge up at least on one of the many knockups that he was a part of in that bounce house. And now WE find themselves 3,000 gold ahead at just 17 minutes. They're going to break open every single tier 1 turret.
This is really good sequence of plays by WE. They are doing things by the book. They are being methodical. They were able to, you know, use that fight around the Herald to break open a little more than they might have anticipated. Now 369 and they're fishing. Good night.
Well, Rood, if you've never seen Bambi, I'm letting you know right now, that is exactly what happens at the beginning of the movie. The deer gets shot down, and WE are going to claim a second one on the catfish, aka Tom Kench himself. I think we're going to Game 5 at this rate, Rood.
Hey, it's a great time to remind people. I seem to be doing really well when it comes to Game 5s. I'm getting a lot of them through the playoffs, and I could not be happier. This is a fan-run broadcast. If we have to play Silver Scrapes, we will get demonetized. Please support us if you can. !coffee in the chat. Subscribe to our YouTube. Subscribe to our Twitch. Please, you know, we're doing what we can out here. We're doing it all for free.
07. We do have collegiate Silver Scrapes as a, you know, compensation, you know, and at least that gives us a little bit of that spirit. But we're going to watch this replay again as Kanavi, even with flash up, just is not going to survive this face check.
No, I mean, Vampire is having a hellick of a performance. Kanavi knows. He channels recall and then is like, I should probably shadow 369 here. And then immediately finds 4 people sat waiting in a brush for him. The Demons won on that one, and he does end up going down, and a great little depth charge as well. Vampire on for a player of the game here is definitely on the cards if he can continue this level of performance.
Yeah. Like we said before, after the Game 3, Vampire says, all right, you know what? My bad, guys. I'm going to turn up. And he is definitely doing so in this Game 4. So invaluable to every single engage that WE has found successfully in this Game 4.
Now WE, they're just playing this map so well. You can see the methodical approach. Push mid, move to a side lane. Push mid, move to a side lane. They take 80%, 90% of a tier 2 turret down on bot side off of one wave. Whilst we're seeing Monki take the dragon as well. And Karis is playing at such a nice range that he can poke out 369. He's never in threat of being engaged upon. And if we look back at the compositions as well, we were talking about this top esports composition as that poke comp. And WE, they were the ones with the burden of execution to find these engages. While this entire game, they've been engaging, they've been finding these sequences, and they've not allowed for top esports to find that poke. Another dragon's just gone down, and Monki's already started on the Atacon, so he's feeling pretty confident to be able to take this one down. There's nobody around from top esports. They haven't started poking out WE yet, so this is probably just going to be a second objective in as many seconds going their way.
And you know what? If Cube dies here, as long as they can get the Otacon, WE do not care. Vampire is going to step on forward, force using the death charge. Now Kanavi goes in, Q onto two people for the lilting lullaby, but he gets popped. Cube finds a massive knockup, stalls out the fight. There goes Monki with Cataclysm, locking down 369 and Creme. Even though he's the most fed member on his team, he just can't do enough to lift his team out of the grave that WE are digging.
And they're just too far behind. WE, another massive fight down on the bot side, extend their lead, find the Atacon. Taeyoon is 7-0-8, 3,500 gold up over JackeyLove, our international representative from split number 1. And he's putting an absolute hand check onto this Senna, who has been null, who has been neutered in this game number 4.
7,000 gold ahead effectively for WE. And when we think about just how the composition is supposed to work, Roodood, I mean, WE, they just get to play with reckless abandon when they're this far ahead.
I'd be interested to see why JackeyLove enters this fight at 30% HP, but that's a realistic part of this. Creme as well is hit by a spellbook exhaust from Cube, so he ends up doing not nearly enough damage. He would have killed Karis and Taeyoon from his ulti damage had he not been exhausted. And they were never able to set up the poke. Again, this top esports composition is a poke comp. Senna, Jason, Lillian love to sit back at range, heal up with Senna, look for swirl seeds, look for shock blasts, and chip away at the HP bar of WE. They spent so long navigating their way through the bot side jungle that they weren't able to do the poking before the fight happened.
And now we're at 22 minutes where it is WE slamming on the acceleration pedal for themselves. Cube gonna find 369 trying to siege up onto this tier 2 turret. Already used Call of the Forge God. A lot of damage coming out from this Ornn, because 369 unfortunately is just too far behind. It's just gonna be a solo kill at this point, and 369 doesn't even get a chance to take out the turret. Meanwhile, back on the cross map, WE just blinked out 2 more members on the side of top esports. Kanavi falls next. Creme is the only survivor. Hell, WE, how much can they get off this push?
I mean, Mark, it could very well be a breaking open of the Nexus. It could just be the inhibitor turrets falling. But it sounds and it's hearing a lot like we're heading toward that game number 5. A solo kill for Cube as he is down 1,300 gold at the minute. And that would have been even more before that kill came through. WE find a massive fight on the top side as well. This is the series that people were hoping for. This is WE putting top esports right to the very edge. Both of these teams have now given us a stomper piece, and honestly, WE, they're looking to give us a second.
No close match this time around in game 4. WE have been firing on all cylinders, and Vampire once again is the person that is going to lead the engage as Karis Shockwave. We didn't get to see that at the beginning of the fight, since we were watching Cube just blast 369 on the other side of the map.
Yeah, okay. Good looks for Karis here. Again, this is a player that came over from being benched from the worst team in the LCK in the back half of 2024. Came into WE and had a shocking split number 1. And honestly, going through split 2 has improved slightly, but not nearly been that same level. And now Creme caught.
Death charge canceled by the Devour. Creme able to use the Between the Worlds to get out, but Chris gets stunned on the way out with the Abyssal Dive, so he falls. At least he can take solace in saving his carry, but Top Esports now down 4-5, and WE are ready to send us to silver scrapes.
Yeah, usually you try to take the house down brick by brick, but WE, they've got a little opening and they're looking to force it down with hammers.
Cube just gonna buy space with the Call of the Forge God here. The first Nexus turret is taken out. Monki going forward. Cataclysm forces the flash out of 369. Kanavi doesn't get a chance to pop
another hook onto JackeyLove.
It's too late. JackeyLove, 369, and Creme are not gonna be able to do enough here. WE might have overextended now. Chris is back up on the map. WE lost Vampire in the fight. Monki goes back in, tries to look for the re-engage, but they have to respect the range that Top Esports can play with. Good knockup from Q, but Karis has got to be careful with his health bar. Taeyoon trying to send it, gets a massive shutdown over to 369's pockets. It does get the kill, but Top Esports going to be grateful that the game is not over yet.
Yeah, they hold the line here, Top Esports. There's still a lot to do, and WE are still so far ahead. But again, going through the front there, a little bit overzealous. There's a League of Legends playbook, and it wasn't necessarily respected by WE here. They thought they'd got enough of a lead to be able to force the house down, and unfortunately that wasn't quite the case. They bite off just a little more than they can chew, and I think that 369 here, with that bounty going into his back pocket, he's the one that takes Taeyoon's 1,000 gold bounty. Eyes have to turn to the Jace now. Can you deliver? Can you repeat that success? Because taking down Karis, taking down Taeyoon, that has to be your goal. Getting rid of one of these massive backline threats if you want to stand any chance of continuing in this game.
Yeah, and I don't know if Jace is going to be the champion that can kind of help 1v9 the status of WE from this point on. You know, the poke will be massive, and you can find it onto Karis and Taeyoon before a fight breaks out. Cool. But as you said, Rude, Top Esports are in no position to even get set up on an objective to look for the poke early on, because if they step up, Cataclysm, Dredge Line, Death Charge, Call of the Forge God, all these engage tools that WE have over-indexed on, and they're being rewarded for it.
Well, you can just see them looking, trying to defend the little scraps of vision they can get, and they're getting punished for that as well.
Chris might be in trouble. Blast Cone doesn't necessarily propel him back over to safety. Monki sends it with the Cataclysm. Call of the Forge God right into choke point. Is so deadly. Creme tries to do what he can to force Taeyoon out of this fight, but he just gets blown up, and Top Esports retreat with the remaining 4 members that they have. Thankful that their jungler is not dead yet, and Monki is too low to comfortably send it for the Baron as the Dredge Line goes wide. Kanavi
good stasis.
uses the Zhonya's, dodges the shockwave. Chris saves him with the Devour. Kanavi will still survive and can at least contest if WE go for the Baron.
Yeah, Monki trying to get a little bit of HP by clearing camps. Cube now charging forward, leading WE in. A good poke from 369. Takes the Immortal Shield bow from Taeyoon here, and Top Esports, I mean, this is the reason that this team can go to internationals, is even when they're up against it, they're doing honestly more than enough to stave off the aggression from WE. That's now a second attempt that WE have made to land a knockout blow that has been thwarted.
Yeah, I mean, they're making a 6,000 gold deficit look like a 2,000 gold deficit, which is pretty darn impressive considering that Cube also is inflating the gold stats even more by having already given upgrades to himself as well as Karis, Monki, and Taeyoon, which is effectively another 4,000 gold advantage. So realistically, WE should feel like they're 10k gold ahead, and Top Esports are not out yet.
And the thing is as well, you say 10k gold, and that's with a 4,000 gold deficit in the top lane. The rest of the map, the important area, 369, no!
Oh, flashing away from the Dredge Line and the Death Charge. Kanavi pays for the sins of 369, and that just could be it. Enough to end this game. Cube not able to find the knockup as a quick flash from Chris, but there is no more effective front line. JackeyLove in trouble, flashing over and away. Creme, what can he do with JackeyLove and Crisp against the full 5-man assault from WE? This should be Game 5. in sight for them. Nexus turret's about to respawn. Creme trying to look for some damage. Chris able to save him with a Devour. Monki about to fall, sends it with the Cataclysm. Creme doing enough damage. JackeyLove trying to pump through the backline, but Monki finds the EQ knockup and survives still. Now it's up to JackeyLove and Chris to buy another 8 seconds.
Another hook!
Kanavi to come back, but he finds another hook thanks to Vampire. Cue the Silver Scrapes, baby. We're going to game 5.
WE 28-9 take down Top Esports. Another slaughter for this WE roster. The 6th seed coming into playoffs have taken Top Esports now to a game 5, where Top Esports should not be. Again, these are our first stand reps. These are our reigning LPL champions. Neither of these teams made roster swaps. WE were at the bottom of Split 1. Top Esports were our best team in the LPL. We're in Split 2 for playoffs now, and WE are looking like they're contesting with our current champions.
Producer Kai, can you do me a big favor and throw up the predictions graphic real quick? I just want to acknowledge what state we're in right now. We're heading to game 5, so only 2 scenarios happens. 3-2 victory for Top Esports or 3-2 victory from WE. We're out of the 3-1 realm. So now I'm really curious about what is left in the cards for Top Esports.
Honestly, Raafaa, this is giving shades of big upset. Already, I mean, the thing is that history will look back on this series and forget if WE lose. And then they will see Top Esports won and that they progressed on to the next stage. And people won't be able to tell you the stakes of this game and of this series, that what WE had. I mean, this is WE, again, I can't undersell how important this is for the organization relative to Split 1, and their expectations going into Split number 2 will have been in the dirt, in the gutter, and the fact that they keep on upsetting those expectations is just a massive, massive deal.
And one thing I just remembered, Rude, because now we're going into game 5 for playoffs, we get to have a 1v1 where Alec has pointed out in chat, blue side has won every single game. So this 1v1 to guarantee blue side could be the difference maker, unironically.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, that's where you start to value having, you know, those really good hands, and where you start to value who your best players actually will be. I mean, 369 has been a staple for Top Esports in those 1v1s. It's worth saying as well, they've thrown in Kanavi, they've thrown in JackeyLove, they've flexed around a little bit on WE. And you can see here our producer Kai, you know, he's got the eyes on WE, predicting them winning MSI, predicting them now, hopefully for game number 5. There's 121k points in the pot if you want to bet against him.
Wow, it's not just the house, it is the full life savings on WE for game 5. Now, I think Kai has the benefit of waiting to see how the 1v1 pans out first before deciding whether to send it or not, but it seems like Kai has committed to the bit. So no backing out, because we already kind of, you know, roasted Kai for doing a little pandering flip-flopping harder than Raz, you know, with the, I saw WE win MSI in a dream, but I'm also going to vote 3-1 for Top Esports. So, you know, at this point, Kai, you got to commit. We're still waiting to hear on what our player of the game is going to be from the side of this game 4, but I'm with you, Rude. Give it to Vampire.
Yeah.
Give it to Vampire.
I mean, I was scared, honestly. I mean, I've heard stories of Vampire. I hadn't watched a lot of WE, but I mean, I caught their series where they took down JDG, and I was able to gloss over a few more of their games. And I looked at our All-Pro votes, and there were a couple Vampire 3s in our All-Pro ballots as well. Like, Vampire has had a good split. By any metric, it's been better than split number 1, for sure. Yeah. And now moving into Split 2, where he's, you know, stealing away a couple of All-Pro votes, where he's, you know, maybe the 3rd best support in the league. I mean, that's incredible to see, and the fact that he's winning an MVP in this series as well is exactly what you're after as WE. So everything going their way in game number 4, and it's plays like that that sort of exemplify why.
Yeah, I just, the vision to be able to reposition the trajectory of the depth charge like that and get essentially a 3-man knockup for the price of normally what should be a single knockup, since it is a point-and-click ulti. That really impressive stuff, truly, from Vampire. Once again, I am notoriously one of Vampire's biggest haters because I had to witness a lot of the lowlights from Vampire and Team WE earlier in the season. I saw multiple Q-flash misses from his Alistar. I saw point-blank Q-flash misses on the Rel. And Vampire has said, F you, Raafaa, I'm better than that. And you know what? Good shit, King. You're turning a doubter into a fan.
Well played, honestly, and it's important as well that we, remember that back in split number 1, it wasn't WE's time, and that this is Vampire's second year playing as a pro, and he's already having these massive performances.
He's 19.
Yeah, he's an exceptionally young player who's potentially got a very, very bright future, and for the rest of WE as well. I mean, the story that we perpetuated at the start of this series was that currently this ragtag group of WE players don't look like anything, right? Like, the names on this roster are not big international names that people are going to know globally. But if you look back at a WE roster from 2021, we've got the names like Elk, like Missing, like Breathe, that are all now getting to that international familiarity, and you do just wonder, is this WE roster the next version of that? Are we in 3 years going to be looking at Taeyoon and going, yeah, this guy playing on one of the best LPL teams is one of our best ADCs in the league? That's the kind of discussion that WE as an organization have fostered.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe Vampire at this rate becomes the next greatest LPL support. Obviously we're going very far into the future, with a lot of, what ifs, right? But you're totally valid in the fact that, 4 years ago we had all those names on there when they were relatively not known, if in fact not big names at all, and now, yeah. So who knows what can happen in the next, 3-4 years, and looking forward into what would be season 29 or season 30. Wow, this is crazy. Come on, Vampire.
Surely. Yes! His 4th MVP for the split. And honestly, for WE, that's a big win. I'm happy that Vampire got this. He was the reason that they won this game, and that's why that you B1 Nautilus.
Yep. That's going to do it for us. We don't need to say any more. Cue up the collegiate silver scrape so we don't get copyright stricken, Kai. See you on the other side for the 1v1 for Game 5.